No, you. Hey, y'all. No, you didn't miss church announcements yet. Hey, y'all. Thanks for joining me. I'm just waiting for my guest to come. Hey, Blossom. Hey, Double H. Hey, Truth, Tanya. Pink. Hey, Sting of the Black Scorpion. Coco. Let's see. Y'all can y'all hear me fine? Okay, great, great. So if y'all have some questions y'all want me to ask Miss Ace, which is I guess that I'm waiting for to join us, y'all can go ahead and drop it in the chat. So I have those questions to ask her as well. But she's gonna give us some insight on what it's like being a prison wife in a prison bay. So y'all are getting the tea when I'm getting the tea. Because I haven't spoken to her yet. I don't know her personally. But if y'all can go ahead and hit the like button, make sure y'all follow, make sure y'all subscribe and hit the bell for the notifications. And y'all got to bear with me because y'all know I'm not used to going live on. Hey, Uncle TJ, I'm not used to going live on YouTube. I'm always live on TikTok. So I'm having to figure this out as I go along. Let's make sure. Uncle T, what's going on? Coco, that's definitely a great question. I need to know that as well. Need this one minute.
Can you hear
Hi.
me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How are you?
Okay, good. How you
Yes.
doing? Sorry. I was trying to get in. I tried on my laptop a few times, but it's acting crazy. So I just did. This is my phone.
Okay, no problem. How are
You
you?
got- I'm doing good. Thank you. How you doing?
I'm fine. Okay, so y'all,
Good.
this is Miss Ace, right?
Yeah, Ace. Aces.
Is it Ace? Ace? Okay. So,
Aces. Mhm.
okay. So, how long have you been a wife, Miss Ace?
Well, that started unintentionally in 2014. 2014, when I was 31 years old. Um, yeah, and a brand new baby, unbeknownst to me.
Oh, wow.
So it was tough. It
Okay.
kind of sprang on me, and you know, at that time I was doing my own thing. I was, into my 30s already, had a good career for myself, traveled around, and then I wound up pregnant and having a baby. So, we had the
Oh,
baby 2013. 2014 rolls around. I knew he had a past, I knew he had a past. I knew he had a criminal history. Um, I just wasn't expecting it to affect us. And I told him when he told me about him being on probation and parole, because I was like, I'm not dating anybody with no kid, with any kids, not anything against anyone with children, but I'm at the age that I'm at. I don't have any children. I have no responsibilities, like that. So I didn't want to be with somebody that had that kind of commitment just out of respect. Um, so when I got pregnant, naturally with my son's father, who I'm going to be with, and one day, we're together. It's September. We've gotten through the summertime. His birthday's coming up. It's my mom's birthday. I go grab him because he was still on parole. He had an ankle monitor. We had to be in by like 5 o'clock some days, 8 o'clock other days. So I went to go pick him up. He's like, "Yo, my parole officer told me to stop by the office real quick." So he goes in. We're standing outside. They call him in the back. I'm sitting outside 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. I'm sitting there like, what in the world is going on? I'm waiting, waiting, waiting. I walk inside and I asked, one of the guys at the window, like, I'm here for such and such. They took him in the back and I haven't heard anything. And he was like, oh, well, he'll give you a call when he gets wherever he's going. And I'm like,
oh, wow.
what are
Oh,
you
wow.
talking about? So just it was that quick, that quick. I go back to the car, I call my mom, I'm freaking out. I'm like, Mom, I don't understand. I don't know what's going on. He didn't do anything. He's done good. Like, I don't know what it is. And I was broke. Oh my God. I was broken. I was broke. I never dealt with that on a personal level like that. Now I have relatives that are have been in prison and jail and different things like that. I've not been the, best person always. I've been arrested before. So I understand the criminal justice system and all, but I didn't know how much it would affect me on a personal level and how much it would take control of my life until that day in 2014 in September. So I had to
So,
drive back to Jersey.
how long were y'all dating before that happened?
My son was 8 months old. He turned one in November, so it wasn't even a whole year. It wasn't even a whole year. We like it
Oh,
became once the baby came around and things changed for me on type of lifestyle I was living. Um, that was it for me. This is my family. I'm going to do what I have to do. But when I found out about him being on parole, I told him like I'm not doing no bid with you. My brother's been through it. Cousins, family. I'm not doing no bid with you. I got too much stuff going on. I was a store manager, retail store manager. I've been working and on my own since I was 17. I'm 32 years old. Like I was not doing it, and I have a son
right.
now that I have to take care of. So, like I was adamant I wasn't doing it. They took him back. I didn't see him that first phone call. Like, oh my God, like I didn't, and everything changed. Like, I used to tell everybody the worst thing I've ever done was decide to wait for someone and follow my heart, even though I'm doing what I'm being true to myself and how I feel and things like that. But I think that's one of the
Mhm.
worst things because I let it stop me and I let it take over my whole life pretty much. And then with Pennsylvania, they move him, when he first got in and after everything was settled, we could see him. He was like an hour or so away from us. And he has a extensive criminal history, like I said, which I wasn't aware of how far that was, but I knew that, and they had him in one place, and then the next thing you know, they send him 6.5 hours away to the other side of the state. So it went from us being able to see him, once a week and talk to him all the time on the phone to not seeing him at all. And they have different phone restrictions because he's in a supermax penitentiary. So I'm like,
Right.
what? You hear supermax? Like,
So
what did you
what?
do? I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I can't. Your phone is breaking it, or your video.
Right.
All right, I can see you better now.
So with you saying that you didn't want to do the bid with him, but you chose to. What kept
No,
you motivated to continue? I guess to go see him. He was.
you know what? I loved him. I can't say anything else. And I was content by that time. I'm into my 30s. I've been single and on my own for over 20 years almost. So I think just naturally, I was at that point in my life where this is who I wanted to be with. I have a child now, and like that was just the next, I guess, natural progression for me. But even when I had my son and I found out this was happening, I still kept telling him like, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing this. But I guess, matters of the heart took over, um, and just made me be true to how I was feeling, which that was the opposite of who I was as an individual at that time. I had done a lot of things. I've been all over the country, been out of the country, out of state, all, since I left my hometown when I was young, had a good career, a good resume, graduated school, college, went around, made money, lost money, was up and down. So, I felt like I was doing well. I was taking care of myself and I was stable and stuff. So when that came around, now I have a new responsibility of a child, and the person that I had given my heart to, is gone now. And it wasn't like anything I was able to prepare for. And my son was still young and new. So I'm learning all of this stuff all at the same time and trying to
Right.
to get through that. So I think just me focusing on that and that being my main priority made it easy to have someone, I guess, that I know that I love, that I care about, that I do want to be with, that I feel like was wronged in how he wound up in there, because it was a situation with that for the whole reason as to why he got arrested, that day when he went into the parole office. Because like I said, he wasn't getting in trouble. He wasn't doing anything crazy. He was on the monitor. He was working. So, he was taking care of his kids. He has other children too. He had an older daughter at that time, who is my stepdaughter now. I love her. That's my girl. I think she was like 12 when we first started getting together, me and her father. So
Okay.
I think it was just easy though, just to have it in the back of my mind that, I have a person, there's someone who loves me, even though it wasn't able to be physical like that at the time. I was, because of, how I was able to live. I did get the opportunity to go out and see him. I would say kind of often. For it to be 6.5 miles away, we saw him a few times a year, and I brought my baby through that. Little baby, 1, 2, 3, 4. He did 7.5 years, the first bit he did. And it was crazy.
So
I
he's done
passed.
two. He's done
He's
two
in, he's in,
bids.
he's incarcerated currently
Okay.
now
Okay.
at this moment. Yeah, and he, back in 2014, that day in September, from that day it was 7.5 years before he came home. And I found out about some other things about him as a person and different things like that as to why he wound up being in there and stuff. And but through it all, like I said, I loved him. I made a commitment to him. I'm a mom now. I was in a position where I was pretty comfortable, to be able to live and make a life for us here, so I could be closer to him and my family and continue to
Okay.
be there for him. And he, jail talk, I would always say it was jail talk, but we stuck it out through those 7.5 years, and I tried not to be resentful towards him and tried to make his bid, as easy as I could, I guess. while still holding him accountable, I guess, and complaining to him about everything, begrudgingly doing it. But I did, and it was hard, and I definitely didn't think I'd be doing it again, and now I am.
Wow. Okay, so got a couple questions for you.
Mhm.
Do you support him financially while he's incarcerated? And if you do, how much money a month do you put on his books?
Nope. Current now, like this bid, I don't support him financially at all. I might sometimes put money on the phone, so we can make phone calls and send him messages and stuff like that. For my kids is mostly mainly for them. On the first bid, I sent him money before, but it wasn't anything like I took care of him or made it a responsibility of mine to make sure he was comfortable in prison. I was more worried about my child and my well-being compared to his. But see, this is the thing, and this is another reason why I decided to continue to stand by his side. When he was before he got incarcerated, he was riding on a bike in Philly, got in a car accident, and he had a lawsuit. So while he was
Mhm.
incarcerated, he, got the payout for that lawsuit after he took care of his responsibilities for his other children. The remainder of the funds that were available in the thousands, he gave to me to make sure that we had a comfortable place to stay. Because at that time, I had just moved back to New Jersey. When I left Jersey, I was in my teens and I had just
Mhm.
came back. So I was staying at my parents' house, and it was our plan to, get a place, build a family, and a life together, he and I. Um, so when he got arrested, I was like, everything changed. I had just started working. My son's only 8 months. I had just went back to work, and we were trying to establish a savings so that we could be together. And then he was gone. So now I have to do that on my own too. So it was a
Mhm.
struggle, and taking care of him was the last thing that I was really worried about. If I could, I would, but I did make it a point to, do things and provide on his behalf for his other children. So I think that he showed integrity with that, because he could have did other things with that money, and you know not even not just that amount of money that he gave. It was other things that he did to make sure that we were good while he was in there. So it worked out both
Okay.
ways.
Okay. So the baby that you have that you said was 8 months, is that his baby?
So the one that was 8 months when he went into prison is our son Kingston, and now I have
Okay.
a almost 2-year old who Ohana, who he was, we had her after we got married. We got married. Um, we had the baby, and he was gone right after that.
Okay.
And that was a
Okay. Now,
surprise. That was a surprise.
for those
Surprise.
who so for those who don't know how much the phone calls cost, about how much do you spend on phone calls? Like what is the cost of each phone call?
I don't. I want to say right now. I'm not sure, but I think it's like a little less than $2 a minute. So if I do put on a card, say I do, I don't know, $20, we might be able to talk to him once a day for 8 days, maybe something like that, 15-minute phone calls. And then now, since the pandemic, before that, they didn't have that. Well, not available to him in the facility that he was in. Now they have it so we can do free video visits with each other. So we do those frequently, a few times a month. We do those, and he's not far, but
Mhm.
making the decision to take my son there when he was younger, I decided to not do that
Mhm.
with my daughter. He's less than 2 hours away now, but we haven't been to see him. We've only seen him through video and talked to him on the phone. And
So
that was
with you going
after a while.
okay, with you going to visitation with your son, what was that like? What was the process like for you going to visitation? How did the correctional officers treat you when you were there? How did they treat him? Did y'all have contact visit? Was it through a glass?
It was the first facility he was in, closer to the city. That one was horrible. It was
Mhm.
horrible. The conditions were, it seemed unsanitary. It seemed like no one cared because of some of the things I saw take place while I was in there. I didn't think they had proper supervision. I thought it was overcrowded, even in the visitation room. It was tough
Mm-hmm.
taking my son through there because this is my son, we're of a mixed nationality, and I don't mean to bring race up, but we're all of a
Mm-hmm.
mixed nationality. My son, as well, and he just like it hurt me because this is his example of what his people are. Like this is the first time he saw a group of maybe, you know, brown and black men, the people that look like his family in one
Mm-hmm.
place, and he's seeing his dad here who, that's his hero. He looks up to him, and he's seeing all these guys in one place. And I was wondering what he was thinking about that at such a young age. And then
Mm-hmm.
he wasn't able to hug. I mean, he could hold him, he could hug on him and stuff. He could sit him on his lap, but to be able to like play with him and do what he really wanted to do and pick him up and hold him and stuff, he wasn't able to do that. And so I think I could see that in both of them. Like my son's like, what's going on? And my husband is not, he's looking sad. And it was horrible. I couldn't do anything to help either of them. I saw how it was affecting both of us. So it was sad, but then I thought I can't not take him, that's his dad. Like
Right.
my son deserves to see him. He wants to see him. He talks to him on the phone. He does all the things that he can in that sense, but that's even messed up. My son, he could repeat the operator's name. This is a
Mm-hmm.
call from da, da, da. He would repeat
Yeah.
that like walking around when we were on the phone. And it was just
Wow.
so sad to me. It was just so sad. I was heartbroken. I was so devastated. I just felt like, what am I going to do? I'm now going on 34, 35. I got a kid. I'm like a place I don't want to be. I just didn't know what to do. I passed up a lot of opportunities. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I couldn't leave him. I didn't want to leave him and go and do this on my own thing and have my own life and make him feel like he was left behind. I care about him. I love him.
So
So I was like at a
if the
crossroads every
situation,
day.
if the roles were reversed, do you think that he would stick beside you, take care of you, hold you down the way that you held him down for not one time but two times? Do you think he would do the same thing for you?
He says he would, but I find that hard to believe. Just being a realist, like I am, I find it hard to
Mm-hmm.
believe because it wasn't like I was there for him and doing this and still doing all this other stuff on the side. I was 10 toes down.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is who I love. This is who I want to be with. And I'm already not that type of person, naturally anyway, but I think I did a good job, and I think he recognizes that. He speaks about it. He just said, I just talked to him before I got on here. And he was like, I know
Mm-hmm.
nobody would ever do what you did for me. And it's not just that. It's not what I did for you. It's what I did for our family, the sacrifices I made for my child and our children now, and the family that
Mm-hmm.
we created with each other. And not once, but twice, it's been ripped away from me, not even able to prepare for it and in a bad situation, especially this time. And I'm not doing it no more. I told him, of course, I'm your wife. Like, it's nothing I can do about that now. I have your children, but don't expect the same thing that you had before. I'm not going out of my way, and not that I think now I feel this way because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he didn't appreciate it. And not just what he had with me, like overall, your freedom, all these things. We're older now. We have families, we have kids, and you let your own wants take precedence over all of those things. So now I'm looking at you different. I'm looking at you funny. Earlier, it was somebody else's fault why you got caught up, and I kind of believe that he's not a saint, you know. So he did what he did, and he has to pay for it. But at the same time, I felt like that was something that he couldn't help at that time. This year, you made a decision to do something to go back. So I think my feelings towards the two times are
Right.
similar, of course, but different. But I'm not going to put my daughter through that. It was hard for my son. He couldn't, express himself. He couldn't play the way he wanted to with his dad. He couldn't see us affectionate with each other. Um, and I didn't want to go through that again. Having him exposed to all those people and all those things, I thought I was doing the right thing at the time. In hindsight, I don't think it was the wrong thing, but I don't think I would do it again if I had to. And I wouldn't have stopped my personal life for him either. I would,
Mm-hmm.
be there for him and support him and do whatever like that. But as far as my romantic life and my personal life and my career and things like that. I put all that stuff on hold or turn a lot of those things down because I wanted to, fulfill my commitments to this person who's fulfilling his commitment to the state for the crimes he committed. But I felt like we all did the time. We all did the time, even with his other
Okay,
children.
so
You know.
get some questions. Of course, the ones that's watching have some questions. Let's
Okay.
see. Are you willing to share both the first and the second
You
time?
say you were breaking up on the first part.
What was his charges? I'm looking in the comment section, trying to answer some of the questions
Yeah, you're. It keeps
that
going
you
in
care
and
to
out.
discuss this charge the first and the second time.
Well, the first time it was a lit. So I went to court. Me and my cousin, who was my best friend, who was really good friends with him too. Like we were all supporting him. He had a large support system. The boss of the company he worked for, his family, me, he had a large support system being there for him at court. So when I went to his first court and they read his charges, I started crying. I was like, "Oh my God." Who is this person? He told me about some things that he did, and I know what it's like in that type of lifestyle. So I wasn't expecting what I heard though. He had everything: robbery, armed robbery, distribution, possession of a firearm as a felon, parole violations, just like all types of stuff, endangerment charges. I think a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff. Um, so it was a shocker. Like I literally almost passed out when they started reading off the charges. Like the more and more they read, I started bawling. He was facing a lot of time, but I think the show of support that he had helped a lot with what his sentence was reduced to and what he wound up having to do. And I wasn't prepared. If he would have gotten what they had suggested when they read off the charges, I don't think I would have did it. I don't think I would have. I mean, I probably would have tried maybe, but I don't think I would have lasted. I think I was up to my point, where when he was able to come home. I don't think I could have done it for a much longer after that. And like I said, I don't know how I find myself in this position now. Begrudgingly, I'm here, but I think it's a different situation.
Let me see what else. Oh, this was one of my questions from somebody on TikTok. They wanted to know, has he ever asked you to write any other inmates, like be pen pals with any other inmates who didn't have any correspondence with the outside world?
No, he wouldn't even let people see my pictures, know my name, anything. There was one person that he was related to that had some information of mine that was, for some personal stuff. But as far as me contacting someone else, no. They've asked if I had girlfriends, maybe some people that were in the cell or around him when we spoke, if I had girlfriends that they could talk to or write. One girl did. She gave her information. I don't know how that went, but no, he wouldn't do that. It's crazy. You would be surprised the amount of access they have to information. Um, People in prison, they find out stuff before people on the street do, or know things that people on the street don't. So no, he wouldn't have done that.
Oh,
He wouldn't have put my kids in
I
that
definitely
position.
know that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, let's see. Okay, how long is he in for this time?
He he's doing like 2 years this time. The charges weren't as severe for what he had this time. This
Okay.
was more. It wasn't as long, but that was back. He was arrested in May of 2021. So he's still currently incarcerated, but hopefully he won't be for much longer.
Okay. Do you think that, or do you feel that you're the only female that he's finding? And I'm asking
Yeah.
because I know that a lot of females, and I'm not saying that he has other females because I don't know him or his his situation, but just from my observation from dealing with male inmates, they tend to have like the one person that's the main person, but they also
Mm-hmm.
have other women that they deal with. Do you think that he deals with other women?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know sometimes it's a hustle to get,
What you
money,
need?
contraband, whatever it is. Do you
Mhm.
think that he deals with other women?
No, not now. Before on his first bid, I knew he was talking to people. I knew, and
Hmm.
I understand, that much. Now we have a
Hmm.
different commitment though. So no, now I don't think that. But I would tell him, I'd be real vocal about it. I still talk junk now, but I don't feel that way. I don't think that
Okay.
now.
Okay. Okay. Now, when you were helping him financially the first go round, how much were you putting on his books then? I know you said the second time you didn't, but what about the
Mm,
first time?
nothing really. Maybe $20 every now and then, once or twice a month. If it was like his birthday or Christmas or something, I might send him some more. But not, I'm not taking care of no man. I don't care who you are. You know what I'm saying? Like I got my son. That's the only man I'm taking care of right now. I'm not worried about
Right.
taking care of a man. But if I got it, I'll throw you a couple bucks here and there. I know what it's like. Like I'm not gonna do him like
Hmm.
that. And I did. There were some things that he needed sometimes, so I would help with some stuff like that. But I'm not doing that.
Okay. Whenever y'all are having phone conversations, I know I put on my TikTok, like why do some people allow people to disrespect them that's calling them from prison? Do you ever have to deal with any of that? Like how does the
No,
phone calls go?
no, the phone calls are good. The phone calls are good. I would never, and he's not. I wouldn't be with a person like that. So I
Okay.
wouldn't take that. But I do know, and I'm aware, and I've been present when there have been conversations like that. Yeah,
Hmm.
not personally for me, but I've seen it. I've heard it,
Right.
but
So what does it do? Like, how is it being, you're not incarcerated, he is. Like, we have needs. We want to be intimate with other people. We want to date,
yeah,
how does that work for you? Like, how are you able to just block it off and just be faithful just to him and just only him while he's incarcerated?
yeah, it's tough. It's really tough, especially being, I live in the city. I'm in,
Hmm.
like around a lot of things and stuff that go on. I know a lot of people and stuff, so it's tough. I'm not gonna lie. Even when he was incarcerated the first time, I told him like, listen, I'll be online like talking to people on like a dating app or something, but I'm real scary anyway, so I'm not one to run around with a bunch of different people that I don't know. But I would have conversations with people. You like to feel pretty. People give you a
Hmm.
compliment. I do have a lot of connections and know a lot of people, and I have male friends too. So, but it was never anything like with sex for me. Like that wasn't a big deal to me. It would happen. I feel a sort of way. They have things to help you with that, but
Right,
I'm a
right.
real loyal person anyway. So that it didn't cross my mind, but I definitely understand how, you might not mean it. People might not mean it. And it's not like you're being disloyal, but like you said, people have needs and they're definitely real. I didn't really think about it like that before because I
Right.
never had to be, holding anybody down or anything like that before. But it's different. It has a
Hmm.
hold on you. It has a hold on your life, especially if you're real, like if it's, real feelings and real emotions, and it took a hold of me. And when I tell you, I never would have thought I would be in a position like that to allow somebody else's time that they owe to for whatever to make
Hmm.
me use my time, because I feel like time is the most valuable thing. You can't get none of that back. And I devoted my time
Right.
to you, so not to be like I'm, being like that to him, but I think he understood that kind of. So all the stuff that I
Hmm.
used to call jail talk and him pulling my leg and stuff like that and me being stupid, when he came home, he showed improve. So, I think it was worth it at the end of the day, but I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. I've had friends or, young girls, they'll see me, people that my employees or something, my associates, they'll tell me, "Oh, my boyfriend." I'll tell them, "Girl, don't do it. Don't do it. You can love him, you can care about him, you
So
can,
you don't
you can,
recommend it.
do whatever, but hell no, no, no,
Hmm.
no." Now I have a different type of loyalty. Like I said, he's my husband now. We have children now.
Hmm.
We have a family, so I have a different type of loyalty to him now. In my situation, but at that age, in that situation, doing it, no, And I think it's selfish of anyone to ask you to do it, if you, or try to control you to do it or make you do it or guilt you into do it, because you see that too.
Mm-hmm.
But hell no, no, don't do it. Don't do it. Ask me, don't do it.
Do you feel like
For
you've
anybody.
sacrificed sacrificed too much of yourself? Like, do you have any resentment for holding him down for both of these bids, in any way for having to like give up some of your life? Because ultimately, that's what you're doing. When someone is
Yeah,
incarcerated, I even know that from
yeah,
my dad. Like, to be there. So,
yeah. No, I don't hold any resentment. I talk shit a lot. I would complain. I would try to be as honest to him and let him know, like, it's like we're both doing the time. It's like we're both doing the bids. Our whole family's doing the bid. I think it stunted me, like I said, in my career, because it wouldn't have stopped. I still did what I had to do, and I advanced my career while being a single mom and having this situation, and having to like start all over again. So I think, but it can. I passed up a lot of opportunities, like I said, because I didn't want to move away or do something else that would take up my time or not make me I don't know, but I could have done other things. And I think
okay.
I thought differently because of him. Not necessarily
Okay.
like on a romantic thing, just even as a mother, I'm in a place like this isn't the area I wanted to be in, but since you're here, our family's here and stuff like that, and being a mom, that became important in our situation because I'm a single mom now. I have to have help, so I need my family around. So I think it stopped me from doing something that otherwise I would have done. And I think I would have had a different type of outcome, though. Also,
Does his family step in and help you with the kids?
no, no,
Oh,
not now, especially at all. But they do with some of the other children that he has,
okay. Okay.
but
Okay.
no. And as soon as he comes home, then it's all love and stuff, and people want to
Right.
be, close and things like that sometimes. But I don't think they support. They didn't come see him, like that. And I know it's a
Mhm.
financial thing too, because to go and visit a prison, especially the way that I was able to get hotel rooms and have money for the vending machines with all the increased prices and all the food and stuff in there that you can buy with all the increased prices, traveling, time, things like that, it becomes expensive. And I think that me just doing that, that's why I'm not going to give you anything on top of it or additional or go out of my way, because that you shouldn't be in there. I wouldn't have to spend that money. But it's never been a
Right.
resentment thing. I chose to do it. It was free will. I didn't have to.
Mhm.
I wasn't his wife at that time, so I didn't need to worry
Right.
about that. I mean, I didn't have to consider that, but I did. And I chose to do it. So I don't hold any resentment towards him or the situation like that.
So it's
But it's
hotel. When you
tough.
get there,
It's
you got to
tough
buy
though.
food for them.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And it being
That
that
adds
far.
up.
Mhm. Yep. And then you want to maximize your time there. So
Hmm.
the visits are what, like 8 something in the morning to 2:30, 3 o'clock or something like that. So you want to stay there the whole time. So that's food, snacks, breakfast, lunch. You want to take pictures, and different things like that. So it's a lot, and you want to make it enjoyable because there, and especially where he's at in the super maximum facility, even though he never spoke of anything like wild and crazy that any COs were doing. Some of them are dicks to them, and some of them are nice and treat them like humans. But you're incarcerated and you're in a super
Hmm.
maximum penitentiary. So I know this time being able to be with your family and be in the visitation room and feel like you have a little bit of normalcy. I know it's important, being in that situation. So I wanted to make sure it was enjoyable for all of us. So I did those things, out of support of just trying to support him and out of trying to help my son be comfortable with the situation. I never, even with my family members, I never visited a
Right.
prison or a jail like that. So to go, I thought it was us going out of our way, especially when it wound up, being in
Hmm.
Coston with him being over there. But I think that's important to help them,
Right.
as well to rehabilitate, to not have them feel so isolated. So we made it a point to do it.
Okay. So while he's there, both times, do he have a hustle like to make his own money, get his own canteen? Or yeah, because
Yeah.
we call it canteen.
Yeah.
Canteen.
And
Like,
that
what's his
was,
hustle?
so I told him like, you too old to keep going to prison. He's been, when he got arrested, he was 30, 32. He had already
Mm-hmm.
given the state of Pennsylvania like 15 years of his life. Already at that
Oh,
age. So then he gave him another 7. Yeah. So I'm like, what do you drop? You don't have a education past middle school, a freshman year
mm-hmm.
maybe. You've had all these things that you could have done to help pass your time while you were in there, and you chose not to. Why? And he gave me an explanation, and that's when I felt like I understood like he was using his time a little more wisely. Now he enrolled in different classes. He got his GED. He was able to do some trade classes. He had a job working in the kitchen at
Mm-hmm.
the first place he was at, and now he's doing the same thing. He's doing the same thing.
Okay. So he's been to prison 3 times. Well, have done at least 3 bids. So if
No, he's done more than 3.
more,
Yeah,
oh, okay. But you just
he's
went
done more than
into it.
3. But I've been, yeah, this is the second one that I'm currently in.
So you're not gonna, God forbid it happens again. Are you going to serve the time with him again?
No, I'm not. It's not fair to my family. It's not fair to me. I changed as a person. It changed me as a person completely. I think it made me cold. It made me enjoy. I had to reacclimate to like being with a person. How we spoke
Right.
about people having needs and things like that. Because I worked. People used to call me like a workaholic, but I enjoyed it. I made good money. I met a lot of people. I've been a lot of places. I lived a good life, up until that point. So it changed me. I wasn't social. I didn't go out because he would get jealous when he first got incarcerated. I
Mm-hmm.
was modeling. I was like going around doing different things, and I didn't stop that because of him. It more so stopped because of my child. But I had a lot of opportunities that came up after I had a baby and after I was back around and in my hometown and stuff like that. And I chose not to do those things. I became more isolated. I wasn't as social. I just worked all the time to try to provide a certain type of lifestyle for my son. And I kept my head down. And like I said, I think that thought of having someone somewhere made it easy for me to focus on my child and my career and things like that. But I don't regret it or resent that, but I wish I could have spent more time with my family and not focused on like a hustle so much to take care of what half is your responsibility so he doesn't
Right.
feel anything lacking at home at least, like that. So it changed me as a person though, and I think I'm different now still. I think it made me cold and it made me not be able to like connect with people because you don't want to get close to anyone because you have someone that's going to be coming home soon and you want to stay loyal to that. So
Mm-hmm.
it changed a lot of things. Yeah,
Okay.
way more than anyone can expect. I mean, if you,
So when
like
you
I said,
normally
I don't
go to
want to say if you do it
visitation,
right, but say it again.
so when you go to visitation regularly, you normally see, the same people, the same families every weekend or whatever. So have
Mhm.
you formed like any relationship with other prison wives? Like, do y'all have your own community? Like, I know my mother, they had like their own community of prison wives. So they kind of like, got on the bus together, traveled together. Did you have any
Mhm.
of that?
No, not with them like that at all. I am part of like a community on Instagram, like a prison wives group that they
Mhm.
have on Facebook too. And it's nice to see that there's other people in situations like that because everybody tries to say, oh, I didn't do it and now I'm in prison for something that I didn't do or I shouldn't be here. But most of the people are there for things that they did and that's the time that they
Mhm.
have to pay. So I don't want to say if they get taken for you for something that they didn't do, but if prison and the sentence that they're given, if you feel like is exorbitant and like they shouldn't be there that long, you just wind up wanting to know like that you're not alone in it and that other people understand what you're going through and how it affects your family and you as a person. And so I think it's nice to have groups and things like that, but I never joined with anyone in person. When you talk and stuff when you're on the bus. I usually went myself because I would stay 2 days and like stay over and things. But me and my son have taken the bus before, and so you see people and they have
Mhm.
their kids and stuff there, so you guys will talk and stuff like that. But no, we didn't do that inside of the prison. It would be nice though. One of his
Okay.
family members was there. So sometimes when he would have visit, his family member would have a visit as well. So he would get to see other family members and stuff. So that was cool and unexpected of them.
Right.
But I never talked to anybody else. I was too mad that I was even being there. I always had an attitude about it. Like I said, it made me so angry because I felt like it took something away from me that I can't control. And now I just got to deal with it.
Right.
So I feel like it put me in a time where it just stopped everything then, and life
Mhm.
didn't go on until after. See, that makes me sound crazy. I didn't really focus on anything outside of my home and our relationship and our child until he came home. And when he came home, I felt like we started living like life kind of again, if that makes sense. I try not to do things that would make him feel upset or jealous, I think sometimes, especially when he first got incarcerated. I didn't want him to feel
Mhm.
bad because of where he was, and I knew the way that some people treat him. And not even just if someone goes out their way to treat him a certain type of way, they got to get strip searched, to come in
Right.
and stuff. And I think about it, I grew up around a lot of strong men, and that is, it takes your dignity away, I guess, to have to do that and think about how they have to do that every single time just to see their family. I think it's tough. I think it takes a toll on them. So I think I considered that a lot too with the visits, why I did it that way. I spent way more money than I should have going out there and doing it like that, but you know.
Okay. Okay. Well, is there anything else that you want them to know? What is, as far as like insight on being a prison wife? I know you said you wouldn't recommend it.
Nope.
But is there anything else that you want?
Mm-mm.
Any
I
suggestions? Any
mean,
advice?
if you do find yourself in a situation, I think just do what you feel is best for you. You can't
Hmm.
stop your life for another person. And like I said, time is the most expensive thing. Time is something you
Hmm.
can't get back. It's invaluable. And what you do with your time says a lot about, what your intentions are, who you are as a person on the inside. So I think, if you do find yourself in a situation and you feel like you're compelled to do it, stick with it. You're doing it for a reason. You're following your heart. You're being true to yourself as a person, but don't let it take over you. Don't let it stop you from living your life that you deserve, for not committing a crime. But at the same time, don't persecute that person, and not be there for him or not be cool for him if you've committed to doing that. But I wouldn't tell anyone to do it. I wouldn't recommend it. I think you can support people and be there for them. And if they are true about their intentions, also, when they come home, you guys can pick up where you left off. And I think it's selfish of a person to ask you
Hmm.
to wait for them, because you can't get that time back. You can't get it back. So, especially young women, young girls, if you're a wife, if you have a family and children, I can understand, if you have a household, like that's what you signed up for. If you're anything like me, in my beliefs, that's what you signed up for the long haul. So that's what you do. But as a single person, as a young woman, I especially wouldn't stop it for someone who's a repetitive offender also. And not to sound any type of way, but they keep going back. They're
Hmm.
not putting you first. That's their choice to make. And
Right.
this time, that's how I feel also. But you have different responsibilities at different points in your life. But as a young person, no. As a young woman, no. A young man, no. Don't do it, because all the things are going to
Hmm.
continue happening until they decide to change. And when they change, if you want to give them a shot, then I think that's wise. But I wouldn't wait for anyone. I wouldn't stop my life. I wouldn't allow something like that to have a hold on me in the physical when they're incarcerated. Their choices landed them in a situation, and now you're feeling the repercussions from it. So I wouldn't. But if you do, I have respect for you. I think you're a person that has integrity and you're loyal. But I think it's a crazy decision to make, and I would not recommend at all.
Mm. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on my live
Thank
and
you.
giving us
Thank you
some
for having
insight on
me.
what it's
Yeah,
like for you personally.
yeah. I'm trying to get
You're
through it now,
welcome.
though. This is the worst part. So we'll see how it goes. I might call you back or might hit you up soon and let you know what happens after this one.
Yes, please do. Might have to come back for a update.
Yeah, right. I'll let you know.
What's changed?
Yeah.
Okay.
All
Well, I
right. Well,
appreciate
thank you. Thank you for having me.
you joining us.
Thank you. I'll be
You
look
too.
forward to you. I will look forward to following you. Thank you. Good night.
Okay, you're welcome.